Recently, I decided to rewatch one of my favorite shows growing up, Justice League Unlimited. And this time, I spent more time looking at the background to see what was there, and it got me thinking. What characters were there that I never really noticed or paid attention to? So I went through the whole series and jotted down every hero and villain that showed up and either stood there or had no lines. So, let's go through this together. In Season 1, Episode 1, Green Lantern picks Green Arrow up from Starling City and brings him to the Watchtower. Green Arrow turns around and notices a group of heroes just standing there in the middle of the room. From left to right, we have Dr. Light, the Shining Knight, Atom Smasher, Starman, Hourman, Red Tornado, Obsidian, Wildcat, Fire and Ice, Johnny Thunder, Gypsy, Vigilante, Mr. Terrific, Nemesis, Rocket Red, Wave Rider, Booster Gold, Vixen, Hawk and Dove, Elongated Man, Huntress, Metamorpho, Sand, Bawana Beast, Stargirl and Stripe, Steel, Commander Steel, Orion, Crimson Fox, The Question, and I'm not entirely sure who's standing next to Crimson Fox. It could be Flash, it could be someone else. But there's a lot of guys in here wearing red. The next scene gives us a better and clearer vantage of who's here. From left to right, we have Obsidian, Dr. Fate, Hourman, Dove, Hawk, Dr. Light, Wildcat, Rocket Red, Blue Beetle, Thunderbolt and Johnny Thunder, Nemesis, Aquaman, Atom Smasher, Bawana Beast, Vixen, Aztec, The Question, Crimson Fox, Booster Gold, Vigilante, Red Tornado, Etrigan, Metamorpho, Stripe, Huntress, Stargirl, the Crimson Avenger, and Steel. The next scene gives us a view of Elongated Man, Gypsy, Mr. Terrific, Wonder Woman, Huntress, Booster Gold, and possibly Aquaman. The scene after that shows that the Atom is sitting on Wonder Woman's shoulder, Elongated Man stretching his neck out, Mr. Terrific, and Obsidian's arm and slower chest. The camera moves slightly up, showing that Captain Atom is now behind Wonder Woman, and revealing that on the opposite end of Obsidian's arm is Dr. Midnight, as well as Johnny Thunder standing right behind Captain Atom now. The next scene to give us heroes has Fire, Vibe, Wave Rider, The Creeper, Atom Smasher, and I think Stripe is now behind him. The camera pans up, confirming that Stargirl and Stripe are now behind Atom Smasher on the other side of the area, and Sand next to Atom Smasher. After Superman makes his joke, we get a view of The Question, Starman, Metamorpho, Ice, the Crimson Avenger, Wave Rider, Zatanna, The Creeper, Stargirl and Stripe, Orion, Gypsy, and the Green Arrow. During a conversation between Green Arrow and Batman, we get a view of more heroes from the back. This time, from right to left, we see Booster Gold, The Ray, Blue Devil, Elongated Man, Dr. Midnight, Black Canary, Hourman, Thunderbolt and Johnny Thunder, Zatanna, Dr. Fate, Orion, Atom Smasher, Stargirl and Stripe, somebody whose head looks like Zeno from Dragon Ball Super, The Creeper, Bawana Beast, Gypsy, Crimson Avenger, Vibe, Vigilante, Red Tornado, Nemesis, Commander Steel, Etrigan, Rocket Red, and possibly Metamorpho in between Vibe and Crimson Avenger. After the scene with Superman welcoming the new Justice League members, we get a scene of Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern talking about an attack going on in Asia. To the left, we get actually a cameo from Cheetah, Copperhead, Star Sapphire, and Shade. Upon Jean giving Green Lantern an option for team, we cut to Captain Atom having a conversation with Vixen, Wildcat, and Dr. Light, with Dr. Fate passing them in the background. After returning to Jean and Green Lantern having a conversation for his second team member, we cut back to Captain Atom now talking to Vixen only, Commander Steel talking with Black Canary, and Starman having a conversation with Mr. Terrific. When he calls for Supergirl, we see that she was talking to Nemesis, and behind her are The Ray and Black Canary having a conversation. While Green Lantern and his team are walking to the Javelin, being followed by Green Arrow, the quartet passes Commander Steel, Vibe, and Zatanna. At the end of the episode, while seeing Captain Atom having his suit refilled, behind Green Lantern and Supergirl, we see The Question walking to the left, while Booster Gold and Obsidian check out Captain Atom. Going to the locker room after Green Arrow comes out from his shower, we get a view of Vixen and Vigilante having a conversation, with Commander Steel walking to the left and Every Boy's Awakening Black Canary getting dressed. Now, crazily enough, this will be the last time we see any other background heroes or villains until episode 6. So, let's go to episode 6. After the opening credits in episode 6, we go to the cafeteria where Supergirl is talking with Green Arrow about her nightmares. In the background, we see Wildcat, Shining Knight, Dr. Midnight, Hourman, and Black Canary all doing their own things. And that's it for episode 6. Now to episode 7, where we get a bit more. Episode 7 actually gets us a lot of help because Martian Manhunter names the heroes that are on screen for me. After the opening credits, we get a view of Hawk, Fire, Shining Knight, Vigilante, Ice, Stripe, and Stargirl. After the scene of Mordu wrecking Superman's shit, we come back to the Watchtower where Martian Manhunter calls out a group of heroes that will go out and pull ground support. These heroes include Vibe, Elongated Man, Stripe, Dr. Light, Huntress, Fire, Shining Knight, Ice, Vigilante, Hawk and Dove, and Aztec. Each hero stands on the teleporter, Booster Gold by himself, Fire and Stargirl on one, Ice, Stripe, and Vibe on another, Hawk and Vigilante on one, with Huntress and Shining Knight on the last one, with Dove. Later, while Jean is watching the monitors, we see Aztec and Huntress on one screen with Supergirl on another.
So I'm actually making this after I've already finished my recording because I went back through episode 7 because I didn't have footage, and I ended up finding another scene that I forgot about. It was after they defeated Mordru. So, in the scene, from left to right, we have Aztec, Atom Smasher, Hawk and Dove, Starman, Shining Knight, Vibe, the Thunderbolt, Stargirl and Stripe, Green Lantern, Dr. Light, Fire, Captain Atom, Rocket Red, Blue Devil, Wildcat, Dr. Midnight, Obsidian, Martian Manhunter, the Crimson Avenger, and Huntress. Now I know it sounds echoey right now, I don't have my microphone plugged in, but I had to fix my mistake for missing this.
Episode 8 actually gets us a pretty good number of heroes on screen thanks to the return of the Amazo robot that hasn't been seen since the Justice League cartoon. We also get a good view of some Green Lanterns that we don't see very often in the show. A few of these Green Lanterns I can recognize, which include Hirunan, Palakua, Tomar 2, Spall, Arissa, Larvox, Kilowog, and Katma Tui. Back at the Watchtower, we see the group convening to figure out what they need to do against Amazo. We see Captain Atom, Fire, Supergirl, Starman, Rocket Red, Wonder Woman, Red Tornado, Ice, Dr. Light, Stripe, Orion, Flash, and Steel. While escaping from Steel and Supergirl, Lex Luthor goes into a hidden bunker where the Atom pops off of his shoulder. We cut back to Superman in space, waiting for Amazo to show up and attack, and he is accompanied by a couple hundred Javelins, Captain Atom, Green Lantern, Starman, Orion, Dr. Light, and Stripe. Amazo cleans house with Superman's group before running into Supergirl's group, who consist of Fire, Red Tornado, and Rocket Red. The Green Lanterns return, led by Kyle Rayner, to help Superman and his group in space. We get a clearer look at some of these, but it's pretty much the same group I mentioned before. Down in Luthor's lair, we get a better look at some of these Green Lanterns, including Tomar 2 and Hirunan. I even got a better look at characters like Chaselon and Salak, right in front of Arissa. Our next episode is going to be with episode 10 called Dark Heart. This one actually gets us a good view of a lot of heroes in action. So, let's check out the scenes, because there's a lot. Inside the Javelin with Wonder Woman, we have Ice, Vixen, the Crimson Avenger, Elongated Man, Green Arrow, and Nemesis. Outside flying, we have the Shining Knight, Supergirl, Green Lantern, Superman, Captain Atom, Stargirl riding Stripe, Red Tornado, Dr. Light, Dr. Fate, Steel, Aztec, Booster Gold, and the Ray, with Batman and his Batwing on the far right. Down below, we have Atom Smasher walking, a blink and you'll miss it Starman zipping by, and Vigilante on his motorcycle. After the heroes land to engage the enemy, we also find out that apparently Aquaman and Huntress were on board the Javelin as well. As the fight continues, we see Rocket Red right behind Atom Smasher. As Jean fires the fusion laser down to prevent the robots from moving any further, we get a view of Stripe, Atom Smasher, Red Tornado, and Vigilante. Strangely enough, in the next shot, Stripe and Red Tornado disappear, leaving only Vigilante and Atom Smasher. While Superman returns with the Atom, we get to see combat happening with Rocket Red, Huntress, Wildcat, Crimson Avenger, Nemesis, and Stripe. We also get a view of Blue Devil putting in some work as well. Another view of the combat brings Dr. Light in with Nemesis and Stripe, as well as Stargirl. The next shot shows Atom Smasher stomping down as we see Dr. Fate joining Crimson Avenger, a soldier, Nemesis, and Stripe, as well as Dr. Light right below a helicopter. While Atom Smasher is putting some work in, Supergirl joins him in laser visioning some enemies. After Superman saves Batman, we cut back to Red Tornado, Captain Atom, Crimson Avenger, Wildcat, Nemesis, and Fire doing some work, with Dr. Fate covering some air support. While the Atom discusses what's happening, we see Dr. Fate, Wildcat, Green Lantern, Fire, and Stripe covering some damage. Behind the Atom, as he's talking to the three main League members, we see Fire and Steel now putting in some work. Another shot of him talking to Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. Behind Superman, we see Wildcat and Starman putting in that work, with Dr. Light flying in from off-screen to provide some more support. Another angle shows Dr. Light with Captain Atom providing fire support, with Superman walking off to the right. The next scene shows Captain Atom with Dr. Fate next to him, firing against the enemies. After having to fly up into the air and cause an explosion, Captain Atom returns down with Supergirl, Dr. Fate, Steel, Fire, and Ice taking on the enemy now, with Nemesis running on screen before getting jumped and fighting back against the robot. The next shot, with Superman breaking a robot and the Atom shrinking, we see Dr. Fate, Starman, Crimson Avenger, and Booster Gold going into battle. The next cut, with Batman talking, shows Booster Gold firing a laser at the opponent. After the Atom shrinks, Superman, Dr. Light, Steel, and Wonder Woman take to the sky. As the group flies, they pass Wildcat, Stripe, and Starman beating on the robots, with Dr. Fate lasering them with his magic. The next shot that we see has Wonder Woman and Superman below Green Lantern, Supergirl, and the Ray, who are covering them. After seeing Batman pull out these sword-style batarangs, we get a very quick scene of Commander Steel and Vibe fighting, which pans over to Vixen tearing apart a robot. The next scene has Vigilante driving over the robots with his motorcycle, while he shoots at the robots with his two six-shooters before a robot knocks him off his motorcycle, causing him to lose it, before Shining Knight comes over to give him some support while he reloads. Vigilante then mounts Shining Knight's horse so they can get out of the fire. They then ride over to where Superman, Dr. Light, and Wonder Woman are, with Steel giving them support. After Atom jumps into the robot's mother system, we cut back to Booster Gold teaming up with Superman and Green Lantern, with Rocket Red leading a charge with the Ray, Wonder Woman, Shining Knight, and Aztec following behind him. Panning over to the left, we get Dr. Light, Stripe, Vibe, and Captain Atom firing their blasts at the robots, with another scene showing Dr. Midnight, Elongated Man, and Wildcat trying to use rocks to hold off more robots. After the Atom defeats the robot leader, all the other robots proceed to die. We see Vigilante, Supergirl, cut to a scene with Gypsy, Starman, Hawk, Black Canary, Captain Atom, and the Huntress all standing around the dead robots. We pan over to see Atom Smasher on his butt, Aztec flying, Booster Gold standing next to Crimson Fox, as well as Obsidian also amongst the rubble of the corpses of robots. As General Eiling enters his helicopter, we see Stripe, Stargirl, Captain Atom, the Atom, Booster Gold, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Rocket Red watch him leave. A shot from inside Eiling's helicopter gives us a view of Starman, Stripe, Stargirl, Captain Atom, the Atom, Booster Gold, Superman, and Wonder Woman. The final shot of the episode gives us a huge view of all the superheroes, or most of them at least, who are in this. From left to right, we have Gypsy, Steel, Blue Devil, Nemesis, Stripe, Vibe, Elongated Man, Dr. Fate, Crimson Fox, Starman, Dr. Midnight, Stargirl, Captain Atom, The Atom, Booster Gold, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Supergirl, Red Tornado, Rocket Red, Obsidian, Shining Knight, Vigilante, Atom Smasher, Dr. Light, Hawk, The Ray, Aztec, Huntress, Wildcat, Fire and Ice, and Hourman. Whew! That was not easy. Now we get to the next episode, The Once and Future Things, Part 1. In the cafeteria, we have Booster Gold sitting with Supergirl and Gypsy, with Stargirl standing coming over to sit. Inside the chow hall, we see Commander Steel walking to get a tray, followed by Elongated Man. Hawkgirl leaves the cafeteria as we see Commander Steel sitting there enjoying his meal, and that's the end of any hero we see until the end of Part 2. Well, aside from the short Jon Stewart switchover cameo to Hal Jordan in Part 2, and technically the presence as we see his hand holding the Big Bang. After returning to their timeline, sitting behind Batman is Vibe, while Dr. Light passes in front of them and Mr. Terrific passes behind them. The next episode, we actually end up getting a few supervillain cameos that you wouldn't really think of, as Wildcat is fighting in an arena with Sportsmaster. Later in the episode, after Roulette comments about the main event, we get to see Helgramite, Gork, Bloodsport, Evil Star, and Tracer as they stand in the waiting area when Atomic Skull passes them. After Black Canary and Green Arrow interrupt the fight between Wildcat and Atomic Skull, the villains I just mentioned come out to support Atomic Skull, with Electrocutioner joining them now. Although, when Wildcat stops them, Electrocutioner disappears, and it's just the other ones I mentioned. The next episode, Doomsday Sanction, is actually very light on the heroes, as we see Fire and Ice, Black Canary, Vibe, and Booster Gold as Batman's running to a javelin, and Wildcat, Hourman, and Obsidian when he gets to the javelin, telling them to clear the area. And that pretty much does it for any hero in this episode. The next episode, Task Force X, is a villain-heavy episode. But what's crazy is they go to the Watchtower, and there's probably even less hero cameos in this one, with Atom Smasher popping up, before popping up again later with Vigilante and Shining Knight to fight Task Force X. And that's it for that episode. The next episode, The Balance, we get Flash and Wonder Woman in the cafeteria sitting down to eat. Behind them, we see Vigilante and Shining Knight at a table, Fire and Ice at their own table, and Dr. Light sitting with the Atom at their own table. The next episode where we really get superhero or villain cameos is in episode 20, The Clash, as it starts off with Elongated Man unconscious stretched out on the ground, and Metamorpho fighting Parasite. This episode is also the only episode to feature Shazam from his original name, Captain Marvel. We see Captain Marvel walking through the Watchtower interacting with other heroes like Sand and Wildcat, Stargirl, and Captain Atom. He walks into a recreation room where Vigilante and Shining Knight are playing chess. After Superman confronts him, we see that in the background, Black Canary and Green Arrow are at another table. While they walk through the hall, they pass Fire and Ice, and this episode ends with Captain Marvel quitting the Justice League. The next episode, Mystery in Space, starts off really quickly with Crimson Fox and Blue Devil walking down a hallway. After Green Lantern leaves the room Vixen pulled him into, we see Nemesis walking by. As the episode ends with Vixen, Hawkgirl, and Vigilante returning from their mission, we see Nemesis, Zatanna, Wave Rider, Obsidian. As Green Lantern pushes through the crowd, we see Dove and Hourman, along with the Question next to Zatanna. As Hawkgirl and Vixen support Vigilante down, we see Vibe standing next to Gypsy. As Green Lantern tries to approach Vixen, we see that behind him is Rocket Red. As Hawkgirl and Vixen pass Green Lantern ignoring him, we see Red Tornado rounding out the heroes in this episode. In Question Authority, we get a very wide shot of the Watchtower main hub area. In it, we see Red Tornado and Wave Rider in the top, middle, and right. We see Stargirl, Fire, Ice, Commander Steel, Elongated Man, and Metamorpho in the middle-ish top. We see Black Canary and Green Arrow standing by a door a little to the left. Martian Manhunter in the commanding area. Dr. Light and Shining Knight below him. And Blue Devil and Dr. Midnight in the bottom left. I could be wrong, but I think the Ray and Johnny Thunder are also in between Green Arrow and Metamorpho. Halfway through the episode of Flashpoint, we get a view of the Ray sitting down in front of a globe with Nemesis walking down the stairs. We pan up to see Flash and Green Arrow chatting while John is working at the command station before Superman and Supergirl walk in. In Flash's Javelin on the way down to scope out the damage they caused, he has Green Arrow, Dove, Booster Gold, Rocket Red, Vibe, and Vixen with him. While helping the civilians, we see that Elongated Man is also down there. We see Gypsy coming into a burning building to help a firefighter. After the Founders have a meeting about what the plan of action is, we see Stargirl, Stripe out of suit, Ice, Supergirl, and Steel working to fix the power. As drill missiles collide into the Watchtower, we get a view of several heroes like Fire, Metamorpho, Black Canary, Red Tornado, The Ray, Shining Knight, Vigilante, Atom Smasher, Aztec, and Stargirl, along with Crimson Fox and Hourman finally using his powers. We see inside while fighting the Ultimen that Bawana Beast is also up here. Red Tornado has to come in and rescue Starman and Dr. Light, who are knocked unconscious. And what was really cool was 3 wind-powered Ultimen couldn't take on Red Tornado by himself, who used one hand and mopped them. A group of Ultimen surround Hawk, Wildcat, and Commander Steel, but get taken down. We see Sand, Blue Devil, and Obsidian taking on and fighting. We see Creeper hop in and take out 3 Ultimen. Huntress has to try and protect Question and Captain Atom, who regain consciousness and help her fight off 4 Ultimen. Supergirl runs through a hallway trying to get to Steel, where she finds an unconscious Atom. After a power reset, we see that Vigilante, Fire, Black Canary cheering, and for some reason Aztec and Booster Gold are back on the tower instead of on Earth. Up at the command post, Stripe and Dr. Midnight are there. As Jean is calling out an Omega-level threat, back at the accident site, we see Booster Gold is back on the ground again, Green Arrow, and Vixen helping people out. We don't see any other heroes or villains for the rest of the episode, aside from Brainiac Luthor's fake Justice Lords that includes a reverse Flash. As Superman is making his speech to the public, we see several Justice League's members. From right to left, we see Aztec, Stargirl, Stripe, Ice, Vixen, Dr. Midnight, Wave Rider, Red Tornado, Rocket Red, Vibe, Supergirl, Steel, Vigilante, Atom Smasher, Zatanna, Booster Gold, and Dr. Light. We also see Huntress in the middle between Rocket Red and Atom Smasher. A close-up shot of the crowd shows us Hourman, Captain Atom, Gypsy, Commander Steel, Atom, Ray, Bawana Beast, Atom Smasher, Starman, Shining Knight, Dr. Light, Booster Gold, Dr. Fate, Vigilante, Steel, Sand, Supergirl, Vibe, Elongated Man, Mr. Terrific, Huntress, Question, Fire, Rocket Red, Wildcat, Black Canary, Red Tornado, Green Arrow, Wave Rider, Dr. Midnight, Nemesis, Ice, Stripe, Stargirl, Vixen, Aztec. After Superman finishes his speech, Green Arrow chimes in, and from his angle, we can see, from left to right, Dr. Light, Booster Gold, Steel, Supergirl, Black Canary, Rocket Red, Red Tornado, Nemesis, and Vixen. Oh, I just noticed Dr. Midnight as well. And I also just noticed Vibe. God damn, these crowds are big. A close-up shot reveals that behind Green Arrow we see Black Canary, Rocket Red, Red Tornado, Wave Rider, and Dr. Midnight. And I just now noticed behind Rocket Red is Wildcat. Another shot of the 7 being talked to by Green Arrow reveals from left to right Dr. Light, Booster Gold, Steel, Vigilante, Vibe, Rocket Red, Black Canary, Red Tornado, Dr. Midnight, Nemesis, Ice, Stargirl, Aztec, Vixen, and Supergirl. Another close-up from behind Green Arrow, we see Black Canary, Red Tornado, and Wave Rider. After Green Arrow's speech, we see the crowds clapping and cheering. In the crowd, we see Metamorpho, Zatanna, Booster Gold, Crimson Fox, Dr. Midnight, Fire, Supergirl, Vibe, Black Canary, and Green Arrow. Superman looks over, and from behind Lois Lane, we can see Nemesis and Ice. And with that, I have finished Season 1. I was planning on doing Seasons 1 and 2 together, but wow, this was a lot of work. So Season 2 is going to have to come out on a different day because it took a long time for me to go through all 24 episodes, scene by scene and record my dialogue for this. So come back again in a few days, watch the Season 2 video, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good day, good evening, whatever your time zone. Bye-bye.